New life for the old North Side Y. We'll have details next on City Corner. I'm Steve Potter, and welcome to City Corner. Well, there's some exciting things happening to an old building on North Grand. It's the old Y, and we want to welcome our guests today that can tell us what's happening there. For Mission St. Louis, to my immediate right is Jason Watson, and also here is Josh Wilson. Welcome to you both.
Thanks for having us, Steve.
Thanks for having us. Pleasure to be here.
And Josh, you're Executive Director of Mission St. Louis.
I am.
And Jason, you run something connected with that called Beyond Jobs?
Yep, I'm the director of Beyond Jobs. On the boots to the ground, man. Boots to the ground.
Well, let's go back a little bit. Josh, Mission St. Louis, I think for a lot of people may not be familiar with that, a little bit under the radar. You've been around for about a decade. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so we're celebrating 10 years, excited to grow as an organization. We really started with what does it look like to address deep-rooted issues of poverty, and through the years, we've kind of settled in two main streams. One, being education. I don't think anyone would argue that education plays a vital role in addressing deep-rooted issues of poverty. And it was really through our relationships in the school, not only with our students and families and staff, but really with the community as a whole, that we began to see that there was a demographic in our community that was really going unreached, and that was men 22 to 35. And so through the years, we have continued to focus on education, but also spent quite a bit of time crafting a way in which to really engage men 22 to 35. And for us, that's been through workforce development and really taking guys, mentoring guys, creating family, and then bringing in opportunity for our guys to find work.
And what did you just refer to earlier when you were talking about the education, just the fact that in these certain areas, you know, too many kids aren't finishing high school, and let alone going past that, right?
That's exactly right, exactly right. And so for us, because of that, one of the main concerns that many of the staff that we worked with had was the gap to grade levels, specifically in literacy and math. And so as an organization, we really took that calling seriously and said, you know, what does it look like for us to insert ourselves in local charter schools, partner deeply, focus on the 50 students that the school selects, and then craft an individual education plan to make sure and guarantee that school that those students will hit grade level.
So Jason, tell me what Beyond Jobs, what that's all about.
Absolutely. So Beyond Jobs is really just one of my heartbeats. I'm a St. Louis native, so I grew up in North St. Louis. Josh mentioned a lot about us working with men between the ages of 22 to 35, and that's primarily what I focus on. So it's a year-long program. We take men about 90% of the...
Because you are one of those guys in that very same neighborhood, right?
Yes, in North St. Louis
Right,
in general.
yeah.
So yeah, I grew up not too far from where the YMCA, the old YMCA building is located. So we take guys between the ages of 22 to 35, we take them through a year-long program. And really our focus is what we tell guys is we're not here to give you value. You already have value. You know, we're here to make that investment. And really our heartbeat is to see a guy go from being able to shape his mentality where he's not just focused on working at a job, but having a career and moving forward in that career. So these guys do 3 classes. One is focused on job training. We have HRs from different companies that act as job coaches. We also have a class that focuses on financial empowerment. So what is a budget, credit building, even our heart issues concerning money. Why are we willing to sacrifice our lives for money? And then we also have a manhood class. And that's just everything from emotional maturity, sexual responsibility. We pay every guy to be in our program. So we want to put a few dollars in their pockets. Then these guys start an internship. They work 2 8-hour shifts with a local business in town. And if they're faithful to the program and into that internship, it turns into full-time employment.
It's all about giving somebody a chance to make their life better.
Absolutely.
And I guess the issue really is, you're talking about, you know, poor communities, people not finishing school. That's a critical time, right? You tell me if I'm right about this. Once you drop out of school and you know you don't have a direction and you feel like you have no options, some people can make bad decisions. So you're trying to catch those people at that important time and say, hey, don't give up yet. You got a life ahead of you.
Absolutely, and the reality is we all have made bad decisions.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, none of us are exempt from the bad decisions.
I'm not
we-
going to tell you about mine.
Exactly. If I told you my story, we need another segment to talk about my life. So what we're telling guys is that you can rebound from the mistakes that you've made. And we still believe in you. You have a marketplace value. You have a skill set that's valuable not only to your family, but to any business and also to our community and our city as a whole.
Because for a lot of guys in that situation, they kind of get a message from society is like, we don't care, and then you give up on yourself.
Right.
That's exactly right.
They feel like the hands have been washed with them, and we're just saying, no, man, you have value.
Okay.
You know?
So 10 years ago, when Mission St. Louis started, where were you? What was your location then?
Yeah, so we incubated in a couple of places. At the very beginning, we were in an old convent that barely had power, and we were, struggling to make it. And
You had no budget, right?
Right, and no budget. And for the last 5 years, we have been located in the Grove neighborhood, right across the street from Urban Chestnut. And so we really grew up as an organization, kind of went through a big growth period, maturity, kind of our adolescence, and we had an incredible opportunity in September of last year to move into a building on North Grand.
We have a couple of shots of this building, and people probably drive by it every day. How long had it been vacant, do you know?
It hadn't been vacant at all. Actually, there was a local charter school that moved out right before we got in. Before that, there was an organization called World Impact that had the building, and there was probably about a 20-year gap between the YMCA folding and World Impact taking it over.
What kind of square footage? Look, 5 stories tall. What kind of square footage is that?
So we went from 6,000 square feet to a building that's 87,000 square feet.
Wow.
So we like to say we're a little drunk on opportunity right now.
And how did this building fall into your hands?
We were in the middle of really wanting to go north. When we looked at really the population that we serve, the guys that were coming through our job and leadership training and beyond jobs
This
programming.
puts you more in the heart of the neighborhood that you're dealing with.
Exactly right. And then we were at the we were invited to the table as the charter school moved out. The organization that owns the building just kind of said, hey, we want to make sure that this doesn't stay vacant for long. Would you be willing to bring your programming in?
Well, I have to be honest with you. I really didn't know anything about Mission St. Louis until my day job as a St. Louis Public Radio. And I didn't have anything to do with it, but they did a couple of profiles of your situation, your building. I want to thank Kelly Moffitt, who I know came down and took a tour and then wrote a nice piece that's on the St. Louis Public Radio website. And I happened to read that, and that really got my attention. And she just, I talked to her briefly before I came in, and she said it was so amazing, so interesting to walk through, and she got the tour, and she goes, every time you go around a corner, you go, oh my.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's got the bones of the old YMCA, right? So we have the most beautiful basketball gym in all of the city. Original hardwood floors with the track above it. In our basement remains the old swimming pool, and so it's an incredibly beautiful historic space. There's no water in it. The pumps don't work. The piping's eroded, but the space itself is amazing.
Yeah. What's the renovation plan? Obviously, that's something you can't do all at once. Do you have any idea, like if you were to redo the whole building, what kind of money you'd be talking about?
Yeah, so we're looking right now, going through a process of about a $5.5 million renovation process. What that is going towards is not only for the space, but we're creating a workforce development and wellness center. That's going to be this pipeline of soft skills, which Jason and the team at Mission St. Louis do an incredible job in. Hard skill training, where we have organizations like Slate that are moving into the building and bringing that apprenticeship and specific trade. And then we're even looking at incubation and having an incubator and going, not only do we want to our guys to have opportunity to enter the workforce, but also what is job creation and indigenous leaders having businesses in our community, and how can we be a part of the process of really laying that foundation for growth and success, and then wrapping all of that in is we have to care deeply about wellness, which means we got to care about trauma that exists. We need to care about counseling and addiction and legal services, and what's going to not only get you the job, but what are some of the services that are going to help you sustain that job.
And one of the flags for us that's really important to wave is when we think about North St. Louis and just some of the perceptions that people have of North St. Louis, we want to change that. So
what you're saying is people have a bad impression.
Absolutely. And we're in a community where probably about 85% of the people that live in the community right around us own their homes. They've been in their homes for 10, 20, 30, 40 plus years. People who have faithfully worked jobs, who have raised amazing families. And we want those people to be recognized. We want those communities to be recognized. And we don't want North St. Louis to just be known for some of the crime that exists and things like that. But there are faithful patriarchs in that community who love their community and refuse to leave and will be faithful in building it continually.
And why are you confident that you can make a positive change?
Well, for me, I come from North St. Louis, so it's not even as much about making a positive change as it is about knowing that there are people there who are already making those changes. So it's interesting once you begin to enter into other people's narrative and you say, hold up, a lot of you guys are on these tracks. You're investing in your family, so we're really just coming alongside to say, how can we help to provide resources that may not be available?
You know, I really relate to what you're saying about perception, because that is everything. And if you don't live in a place, all you know is what you read or see. And I'm not picking on TV news, but that just the nature of the business, it always shows you the negative things. And if I'm sitting out in West County somewhere, that's all I see.
Absolutely, and that's one of our heartbeats. We say, look, if we want to care for a city, we have to care for people. And if you want to see the beauty in a neighborhood, you have to see the beauty in people. When you see the beauty in people, then it gives the neighborhood way much more value when you understand the value of the people. And that's one of the things for us. We're not swooping in saying we're coming to save the world. We're swooping in saying you people are amazing, we love you, we want to walk alongside you. That's really what we're saying. We're not the savior of a community. We're just people that want to we're broken people here to help other broken people.
Yeah, well, you kind of save the world one person at a time, though.
That's
right?
how it starts. We always say one person, one family, one community, then a city.
And Josh, how many young people do you deal with on an annual basis?
It's sometimes a difficult question for us to answer. Through our programming and through our workforce development services, we'll see over 120 guys that will serve a year that'll come through our very intense process. And we make a one-year commitment to all of our guys. And so we constantly have men and even families coming back in, receiving services. We have an employment agency that will keep anywhere from 20 to 30 folks in that pipeline. And then, as Jason was talking about that lens of relationship, even one of the things that we do around Christmas, everybody thinks about, what does it look like to get a bunch of resources donated and give those things out? Well, we kind of said, we want to value the dignity, right? We don't necessarily want to just give a bunch of things away. Nobody wants to be a charity case, right? None of us are like, hey,
that doesn't help your self-esteem.
It doesn't help us at all. So we create this, basically this like Black Friday store, right? Where we get all of these gifts donated, and we create this shop. And so, we'll see over 1,200 people come in and shop, and parents, walking out the doors that day, providing Christmas and providing this experience for their kids.
Right, and for people who don't know, in like that part of town, there's not a place like that around every corner.
That's exactly right.
Exactly. Hey, we need to take a break. We're going to come back and talk more about Mission St. Louis and about their new location on North Grand at the Old Y. We'll be right back after this.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
I'm Steve Potter. Welcome back to City Corner. We're talking today about Mission St. Louis and their new location on North Grand. With us representing that organization, Executive Director Josh Wilson. Every time I say your name, I can't say the word
a lot
Josh.
of J's.
That's not that hard. And Jason Watson are also here. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Before we get back to the discussion, I just want to recap a little bit and talk about the mission of Mission St. Louis. So what you're doing is you're putting yourself in the neighborhood that you want to help, and you're trying to work with young men of a certain age and sort of give them some direction to get back on track to education and a career, sort of. Those are my words. You say it.
Yeah, so I would say that's exactly right, is what does not only valuing and really caring deeply about education and that next generation of leaders, while at the same time engaging with men 22 to 35. And we really see ourselves as one, and Jason's talked about this, creating a family environment where guys can really talk through and sort through what it looks like to walk that path of employment. And then at the same time, we really wanted to be an organization that brought the St. Louis business community to the table. And what does that bridge look like? And how do we talk to businesses throughout the region and say, hey, we have incredibly talented and quality men. Can you bring opportunity to this population?
Let's look at that image we have again of the old YMCA that you have moved into and are renovating. And it's a huge space. How many square feet again?
87,000 square feet.
Right. Do you think you're going to have enough room?
We're already out of space.
No, that's not true, is it?
Not true at all.
What do you know about the history of the building? I know it was built in 1918, but for a long time it was sort of the center of the community, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of traffic. And funny thing is, we had our grand opening, and we had two older guys that came by, and we took them down to the pool, and they just were like, they remember swimming in that pool, and they took pictures, and just were really blown away. But definitely, you know, there was a time when the YMCA used to rent out rooms like little hotel rooms.
Right.
So if you go to the second and the third floor, you see the little individual rooms with a window and a little bitty closet. So, and you know, it's right across the street from the old Sportsman's Park.
Right.
So there's an old folk tale that says that Babe Ruth, you know, hit a home run, a foul ball, bounced in the middle of the street and went through the window. So we're auctioning off all of those balls that Babe Ruth had.
You can prove that, right?
I'm not saying I can prove it. It doesn't come with any certification.
Does Babe Ruth's signature look a lot like Jason
It
Watson's?
looks
Maybe.
pretty close, pretty close.
We'll do another show about that later. You know, you mentioned the history of it and people remembering it, and I mentioned that Kelly Moffitt from St. Louis Public Radio, you had some on-air stuff about it too, but she also wrote a story about it that was on the St. Louis Public Radio website. And when I read it, I saw some response from some of the people who read it. I just want to share a couple with you because the building really does mean things. One person wrote, "My folks moved to St. Louis so my dad could work at the Northside YMCA in 1956, so it's the same building. After viewing these pictures, we had a lot of pictures on the website that Kelly took, I got goosebumps seeing Dad's pool.
Wow.
Our house was right behind the Y and was raised for the addition and back. The family would love to tour the building, especially with your 88-year-old mother, with our 88-year-old mother."
Wow.
So can people take a look, or do you have a policy about that?
Absolutely. We've had plenty of people that have come by, you know, A, to hear more about the organization, but even B, to just, you know, walk through the building. We give tours all the time. So family, come by. You're welcome to come check out the
I wanted to share one more. Thanks for the memories. This was after reading the story about you and seeing the pictures. I was in 7th grade when the Cardinals moved downtown. Had the opportunity to watch many Cards games at the old Sportsman's Park, which you said like is across the street. I remember the electric YMCA sign glaring at us from beyond the center field seats. Used to wonder what the inside of the Y looked like back then, so he can find out.
Absolutely.
Just come on down.
Definitely.
So how do these young guys that are participating in the programs that you do, how do they find out about you?
Great question. So one piece is we're connected to probation and parole, so we built a great relationship with probation officers, and they really believe in our programming, so we connect with a lot of guys that way. Another way is word of mouth. So guys who have graduated our program, they tell cousins and brothers and friends.
So it's
and
true,
family
part of the
members.
thing is a young guy's got to be a little bit motivated because he's taking initiative to to go. He's not being forced to go.
Absolutely.
Exactly
No
right.
guy's forced to be a part of it.
So
It's
that shows you that
voluntary.
he's wanting to better himself.
Absolutely. And we tell every guy, look, if all you're looking for is a job, this isn't a good fit for you. You know, we're really about changing mentality because we believe if you have a wreck life, you'll wreck any job that you get. So our focus, we're really trying to deal with the whole person so that when you get a job, you maintain that job and you begin to move up in that career.
All right, we have some images here of various things I
Absolutely.
think happening that you've been involved in, and I'd like you to talk about them.
Yeah, so this is our team. We are currently have right around 40 staff members. Half of those are inside of our building. Half of those are implanted in 2 local charter schools. But that's our family. That's our crew.
I believe this was when we beat you guys in kickball when we had our, if I remember
You had to bring that up,
correctly.
didn't you?
You know, you got to bring
Your
that.
team won, though. You want to make that clear?
I think my team
If our
won.
staff is
I'm
anything,
pretty-
they're competitive.
Right.
Let's keep going.
We talked earlier about affordable Christmas, and this is one of those. This is a picture of that event, and so we have families come in and great breakfast for folks that are coming and waiting to shop, and then we deck out 2 floors just filled with gifts and create an incredible shopping experience.
Well, those kids are having fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
You
yeah.
can sure tell.
absolutely. One of the things that we've done, and you know, Steve, with a building as big as ours, we're constantly looking for community service projects and groups that would come and help us renovate our building. And so that has come from businesses and groups and schools and churches in St. Louis. But this is also a group that came to us out of Texas that came in and did a week-long project. So we have been cleaning, we've been scrubbing the building, we've been painting walls and getting it back into shape, and very thankful for groups that would come and serve with us.
Let's take a look at another one.
Oh yeah, this same thing, service project. And it's been amazing. What's been really amazing is to see groups come and then be able to engage with people in the community while they're out mowing
So
lawns.
these people taking care of a vacant lot or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but the cool part about pictures like this too is that you know, one of the things that we value more than anything else is that relationship, and specifically with our long-term homeowners and neighbors. And so many of our community service projects are actually led out by residents in our neighborhood.
We'll take a look at some more of those in just a second. But talk a little bit more. I know that it's really important to you. I think you referred to it about partnering with local businesses. So specifically, maybe give me an example of one right now. Or
Absolutely. So we've made a call to the business community just to say, listen, if we have guys that have value, they're ready to work, and we want to be able to connect them to opportunities. So we partner with businesses such as BJC, Swiss American, Cintas. And what will happen is these guys will go work an internship for 6 weeks with that business. That business sends us a report card on that guy, and if he's faithful, then that business will then hire that guy after that 6 weeks. So one of our things has been, if you are a business and maybe you're struggling to find employees, maybe you're looking for faithful workers, we're saying that we have those guys. We're training those guys, we're pumping those guys out, and we just need those businesses to be able to partner with us to provide that opportunity.
has that been challenging in any way? I mean, you know, most businesses are there to make a profit, not there to do good.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean they're bad people, but maybe it's more trouble for them to maybe deal with you, even though it's a good thing to do. Do you know where I'm going?
Yeah, one of the go ahead.
No.
One of the things that because of that, right? One of the things that we had to do as an organization is, you know, Jason talks about us paying our guys to go through. We know that that's vital and needs to happen. Our guys need some money in their pocket while they're having this opportunity to earn a job. But if you look at the other side of that, we've got guys that we're paying that are on our payroll, workers' comp. What we've tried to do with the business community is say, how do we take on as much risk as we can? One, because we believe in our guys and we know that our men have incredible talent. And what that's given the local business is 6 weeks to go, hey, this guy is doing an incredible job and he's a great candidate for this. Or, hey, there's some areas that we really need to work on. Our hope is that at the end of that 6 weeks, through that communication, that our guys are ready to be an incredible employee at the
So that business is getting to vet that guy for 6 weeks. We're paying him. He's on our workman's comp and insurance. So that risk is removed. The financial risk is removed. So you're getting to vet this guy for 6 weeks.
You know, and on the inside, it must be very rewarding to see a young person that maybe has given up, but you see them realize they've got a chance in life.
Absolutely.
and become focused and better themselves. That's got to be really amazing to see.
It's one of those things where there's no other work that I could do that provides that type of reward. There's nothing more valuable than investing in a person. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that's why relationships are so important to us, because we don't have clients. People aren't numbers. You know, we're dealing with real people with real circumstances and situations, and that's how we see them.
Let's go back and look at some more images in the time we have left.
This is one of the images of St. Louis College Prep and some of our scholars that are doing an incredible job. I don't know if we talked about this earlier, but our students through this program are making 3 months of growth for every month that they're with us. It's just absolutely incredible to see how our students are achieving.
I think we got time for a couple more.
One of the things that we focus on in the schools is literacy, and so it's been, just like we talk about in the Job and Leadership Training Program, the impact that you begin to see to watch a child be ashamed at school to thriving and even just wanting to dig into a book is also something that we get to see often.
Just seeing kids, it's amazing, man. Again, we talked about perception, but seeing kids be involved in gardens and
A lot of city kids don't get that.
Absolutely, and and some do, and some have those passions, and you just need to see them in action with those passions. And so,
one of the things too that Jason has and his team have done an incredible job is not only talking about manhood, but also talking about the need for fathers to be in the lives of their kids, and so being able to see that take place and happen, and the joy as really there's a lot of reunification that takes place in many of our families.
We've just got a few seconds left. I know that there's a lot still to happen. So how do you see Mission St. Louis right now, and what's the future for it? Any predictions?
Yeah, so I think we have really a national model. What we're hoping to do is bring multiple nonprofits into a space where in North St. Louis, if you are looking to enter the workforce, if you're looking to change your life, if you're looking to be able to care well for your families, this will be the location to do it.
Any reason to think that what you're doing is that Y might improve the neighborhood too around it?
Absolutely. That Y has always been a pillar in that community. And even as we moved in and began to engage with the neighbors and people that live in that community, they're really excited about somebody having a permanent footprint in that building.
And the economic development impact that's going to take place, not only through that building, but in our neighborhood, we believe will create ownership for our neighbors and residents and create a flourishing community.
And when you say the economic impact is going to happen, what specifically do you mean?
Well, I think if we do a good job, one, we are getting our guys employed, and the tax base that's going to create in North St. Louis is obviously impactful. But two, we want to see businesses created around in our neighborhood and around our building. And
what might pop up? You mean maybe a pizza place or who knows what?
Yeah, so we're looking at food and beverage, but as well as what are some of the trainings and some of the gaps that exist in our city. So that could be anything from HVAC to painting companies, construction, all of the things that are going to help build and create a sustainable community.
And then we talked a lot about, when you talk about impact, perception is a really important thing. So I keep harping on that because one of our heartbeats as an organization, even as we're dealing with people, helping them get jobs, we're also shaping the way the rest of the city sees North St. Louis, and that's really important for us.
Well, how are you going to know if you do a good job or not?
Well, one thing that we believe is that it takes time to make these types of investments. This isn't an overnight flip a burger and things happen. So the way that we know we're seeing success is, A, we'll see guys getting jobs, we'll see people beginning to make those same investments in other people, and then we'll be able to track how those people are doing along.
I think it's exciting what you're doing, and it's going to be more interesting as time goes on. I think Mission St. Louis, I hope people will check it out, go to your website, maybe give you a call.
We need to get you in the building.
I want a tour. I want to see that place. Gentlemen, thank you so much for sharing
Thanks for
with us.
having us. Pleasure.
That's all the time we have for this edition of City Corner. Thanks for watching, and I'm Steve Potter. See you next time.